If you decide to apply to Cornell's ILR school, you'll need to apply using the Common Application. Now, ILR does offer the ability to apply early decision. If you apply early decision, you can be admitted, you can be deferred to the regular pool, or you can be refused. We only recommend applying early if this is absolutely your first choice school. If you've considered all of the variables that are going to impact your decision, if it's the place you would go if you were accepted to every other school you applied to, that's really the main reason that you should apply early to our school or really to any school. Now, when our committee reviews applications, here are the things that we look for during the evaluation. First, in terms of coursework, we just want you to take 4 years of English and 4 years of math. We get a lot of questions about, well, what's the exact grade I need, or I have this one low grade, does that mean I have no chance? That's not how it works. There's no set GPA. There's no real cutoff level. When we look at your overall academic record, we just look to see that you did well in the things that are most related to our field. We're looking for an overall sense that you can do the work.
When it comes to standardized tests, ILR applicants need to take the SAT or the ACT. We have no preferences as to which one people take. If you take the ACT, we do not need you to take the science or the writing sections. Now, similar to what I mentioned about the high school record, we're often asked, is there a minimum score I must have? And if I don't have that, I shouldn't bother applying. Or is there a certain level I can reach that will really increase my chances? We don't have answers for those questions because we take your entire academic record into consideration. When we see scores, we consider them along with all of the other academic information you provide us with. We have admitted students who are strong in every area of every class and every test they take. We admit students who may struggle in a section of these tests, but they consistently excel in classes in those same areas. Or vice versa. Maybe some of the grades in a particular area are lower, but their scores on the standardized test show there's a lot of potential there. We take all of this in because really what we're trying to determine is just, can you do the work in ILR? Can you succeed in our reading and writing intensive social science-based program?
When it comes to experiences and activities, we get a lot of questions about what specific roles you need, or do you have to have a long list? You don't. And there are no specific experiences or activities required. Our committee likes to see, we want to see that you have some interests outside of the classroom, but it doesn't have to be 10 or 15 different things. Whether what you do is work, it can be sports, it can be debate, dance, it can be volunteering in your community. If you're going to include this in your application, if you're going to write about it, we are far more interested in what you get out of those things, or how those experiences led you to want to study in our school. We want to know why those things matter to you. Why are those the things you chose to do with your time? How did you feel about them when you first started, and how do you feel about those organizations or that work now? So we're really more interested in why you're doing certain activities, not just that you do them or that you hold some specific leadership role. When it comes to references, there's 1 counselor recommendation and 2 teacher recommendations that are required. Now, we do understand that many students may not know their counselors very well, and that's fine. The teacher recommendations are really more where we focus. The recommendations that we get for our school, important to note, they don't have to be from a specific subject. Just because we're an applied social science program doesn't mean they necessarily have to come from one of your social science classes. They could be character references. They can be from a teacher who can just speak to your specific interests in ILR, whether it came from the whole class or just one particular project in the class. We do get a lot of questions about extra references. So here I want to say, if you want to have an extra reference, it really should be from like a supervisor or an advisor of maybe a club that you're a part of. but you really don't need an extra recommendation. If you are going to submit an additional reference, we do not recommend submitting more than one additional one. Now, the most important parts of our application are really the writing components. Now, for the Common App essay, we look for good writing, we look for interesting stories, but it does not need to be the toughest thing you've ever experienced or the saddest thing you've ever gone through. We also don't want it to just be a series of statements, statements that say this happened, then that happened. What we're really looking for in that essay is just tell us how you think. Give us an example of who you are as a person. Not that you went through something, but what was it like for you? What did you learn from an experience? How did you process it? The second writing component is the Cornell supplement essay. In our committee, this is by far the most important part of our application. So this is the part of the application where you really need to establish a strong fit with our program. You really need to convince us you want to study an ILR. Now, some tips for how to do that. This essay is coming to ILR's committee. It is our school's committee that is deciding whether to admit you to Cornell. So what we're most interested in is how do you fit with our program? We don't recommend focusing on larger Cornell things in this essay. This one is really just about our school. Another thing to keep in mind is I wouldn't use any of this space telling us about ourselves. We know the classes we teach, we know the names of our programs and alumni. It's often not the best use of space to just repeat things to us that maybe you've seen on the site. We're not terribly interested in what you think you want to do after you graduate. It's years away, there's a lot that can happen in that time, and this essay, the supplement essay, it's really more about the journey than any possible end goal. We want to see your fit with the topics that we study here, the issues that we study in our school. Everyone in our school is really into what we do, and we just want to see that you are too. Why do the topics we study, why do they matter? Why do they matter to you? Why do they matter to organizations, society, your goals, your sense of justice, whatever it is that kind of lights that fire in you as you see certain classes in our program? The supplement essay is about why. Why are these topics important for you to learn? Now, some other things that you can do if all this sounds interesting, you want to explore us a little further, simply stay engaged with the program. You know, do as much research as you can, learn as much as you can about the school. Some ways to do that, you can participate in our virtual events. If you're not already doing so, you can follow us on social media. We always post there for our upcoming events. Again, I'll point you to the ILR admissions homepage. You'll see right there we have our curriculum and sample electives. We have our career outcomes report. And of course, just do a search for Cornell courses. Go to the main Cornell course page and look through everything in our departments. Look through all of the classes. You can start brainstorming the essays too. It's the most important part of the application. So as you're looking through our classes, start thinking about why the things that we teach matter to you. Think about how your extracurricular experiences, your work experiences, classes, maybe life experiences, how do those things relate to what we teach? Those are some of the things you can start thinking about now. In our school, we often say that the right students for ILR, they are the ones who, they are ILR students, they may not know it yet. So when you're reading through those classes, when you're looking at all the topics that we teach, if you find yourself saying things like, oh wow, this thing that they teach, that was my favorite topic from Model UN this year, or this was the topic of my favorite paper. If you're looking through our departments and you see, these are all of the issues that I discuss with my family, that I argue about with my friends, these topics that they study about management and leadership, these are the things that made our sports team so good, or what made this job that I had so bad. Those are some pretty good signs that this is the right place for you. And finally, just in terms of learning more, you can reach out to us. We're here in admissions to help you. We are happy to connect you with current students or to answer any questions you have about the program or the application process. So thank you again for joining, and feel free to reach out to us anytime.